Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we will set up the basic scene for our project. We will make a background plane, add a camera and place some lights. Then we will adjust the Arnold render settings so we get a clean image with less noise. This will prepare our scene before we start making and applying the shaders. Let's get started. So first of all, this is where we left off from the previous video. What I want to do next is add some kind of background behind the ball. So in order to do so, we will make a plane. Under the Create tab, click on Plane and just drag in the viewport. Right click to disable. After that, we'll take the Move tool and we will set the plane into the middle of the world. So 0 on X, Y and Z axis. Then go into the Modify panel and make the plane 100 centimeters in both length and width. Length and width segments we will make 1. After that, go ahead and convert it to editable poly. Click on Edge Selection and get the edge that is on the far back. While holding Shift, drag on the Z-axis to extrude the edge. We can set the height of that edge right here at 65 centimeters. After we've done this, press F4 on your keyboard to enable the edge faces. Select this edge right here and add a chamfer. We will choose quad chamfer. Let's add some 25 centimeters and we will make the edge tension to 0, so we get a chamfer of 90 degrees. Right now we have the initial supporting edges of the chamfer that we'll make. So go ahead now and select the middle edge again, click on chamfer settings, add a chamfer of 17.5 centimeters, make the edge tension of 0.5 so we have a good rounded chamfer, and we will add 4 or 5 segments and then just check to apply the chamfer. Now next thing I want to do is go to vertex selection, select the right side of the vertices on the right side and just move them to 150 centimeters on the positive x-axis and the same for the negative x-axis. Move the vertices for minus 150 centimeters. So this way we have a big scene behind our ball. Next thing I want to do is set up a camera. So we will zoom into our ball, something like this, and we will hit Ctrl C on our keyboard. But because we are at this moment in orthographic view, we cannot add a camera, so we need to change to perspective view and just add a camera by hitting Ctrl C. And that's it. So now I want to think about the resolution I'm going to use. So I'm going to go into Render Setup and right here into the Common tab under the Output Size we will choose Custom. We will set the image aspect to 1 and lock the image aspect. We'll set the width to 1000, and that will automatically change the height. So now go ahead and close the render setup, and we will enable the save frame by hitting Shift F. So now we actually have the save frame or the render region of our scene. But we are too far away from the ball, so we are going to take next the dolly camera tool and move in, but this is messing up with our focal length, so we're just going to disable specify FOV right here, and we will set a focal length of 50 millimeters, and that already fixed our problem. So we're just going to position our ball in the center here, and maybe even go a bit closer, something like this. So right click to disable the tool, and before we do anything else, I would like to apply a standard surface on all materials. So we are just going to go and open the slate material editor, this one right here. We are going to pull out a standard surface, so go into materials, Arnold, surface, and pull out a standard surface from there, or you can just simply search by name, standard surface, and it will come up just like that. And we will apply that to our whole scene. So that's the plane, SB black and SB white, and apply the material. Now you can go ahead and close the slate material editor, and let's see what we have. First thing I want to do is get this plane and rename it into background, like this, and pull it down into the geometry layer. So we have the geometry separated from everything else. We are also going to change the edge color. So just go ahead in this palette right here and choose a black color. And just like that, we have black edges. So now what I want to do is add lights. To add light, go into create panel in the light bulb right here. From this list, choose Arnold, click on Arnold light, and click somewhere in the viewport, and right click to disable them. Now we're going to go into the modify panel, and first thing I want to do is a sky dome light. So we're going to rename this one to sky dome, just like this. And we are going to, while it is selected, we are going to press Ctrl V, so that will make us a copy. So 1, 2, 3 copies. Now what I want to do is rename all of the lights properly. So the sky dome 001, we will rename that to key underscore light, like this. Then the second one, we will rename this to fill light, something like this. And the last one will be rim light. So for now, we are going to disable rim light, fill light, and key light. We just need the sky dome. First of all, the sky dome, we will move it to the center of the world. So 0 on X, 0 on Y, 0 on Z axis. Just that we have it in the middle of the world, but it doesn't make any matter if it's somewhere around or in the middle of the world, but I like to keep it straight. Next thing I want to do is change from emit light form the type of the light. So we're going to choose sky dome from here. We are going to set the resolution to 2000. After that, we are going to change the color to slightly, almost unnoticeable yellow. So 245 on the yellow. You can see, right, it's almost unnoticeable. Or just type this number, whatever you like, and click OK. After that, we are going to change the intensity to 0.1, so we have almost no intensity. And we are going to click on normalize energy. And last thing I want to change is the samples to 2 and volume samples to 2 as they are default. So now we will enable the active shade rendering in our viewport. So click here and go on active shade using Arnold. If you click on that and have the edge faces enabled, you will see this. So we have to disable the edge faces, and now we have a clear view of our render into our viewport. So what I want to do next is I will not change the intensity for now, because if we change the intensity like 0.5 we get too much light. So I'm just going to stay to 0.1 for now, and maybe later we will tweak it. So let's hide the sky dome here. It doesn't hide in the viewport, it doesn't disable it like this. It just hides from the viewport. And we are going to set up the 3 lights of the initial light setup. So let's start with the key light. Just rename it like this, so we have it 01 underscore. Then we're going to rename the fill light 02 underscore. Rim light 03 underscore, and the sky dome 04 underscore. So if we sort the name by ascending, we'll get all the lights like this. I have tested out the scene and I will show you what I made, but you can feel free to go ahead and change these parameters to your own liking. So the position of the key light will be on minus 50 centimeters on X, minus 50 centimeters on Y, 38 centimeters on the Z axis. So let's just see clearly like this. Let's set it out right here, the floating viewport. So the light is somewhere around here. So you can see where the camera shows, it's something slightly offset of the camera. Second thing I want to do, and it is very important, for the key light target to be set right into the middle of the world at first, and then we will pull it up something, let's say about 10 centimeters in height, so it's around in the middle of the ball. Select the key light and let's turn it on, so we see what we have. And now we have the initial light right here, and it looks good, but we need to change some settings from right here. So let's go ahead and change what we need to change. Let me just check my parameters. So everything will be left as default up to quad Y. We will change the roundness to 1 and the soft edge to 0.25. So this will instantly change our light. So you can see we have very much more brightness than before. Now we are going to leave it on white, pure white color. I know it's not natural, but we really don't need to mess around with the color of the lights, except for the sky dome. And we will set the intensity and the exposure to 2.75, both of them. And now we have something like this. We will not select normalize energy right here, and we will not mess around with the samples. After we're done with this light, we can go ahead and turn it off for now. and move along to the fill light. For the fill light, I will set it to a position of 70 centimeters in the plus x-axis, about minus 30 centimeters on the y-axis, and 20 centimeters on the z-axis. So that light is opposite from the camera, something like from here, and it will light up our shadows that are made by our key light. What we need to do next is set the fill light target, as I said before, straight into the center and then 10 centimeters in height, just like the target from the key light. And we can go ahead now and enable the fill light. And let's see, now we have too much brightness, to be honest, but we're going to fix everything. So let's see what parameters should be changed. Spread should be left to 1, resolution to 500, quad X and quad Y. Now these things actually control the width and the length, as you can see right here, and it also changes in the viewport. It changes the lighting also. So we are going to change the width and the height of this light to about 25 by 25 centimeters. We're going to set the roundness to 1 and we're going to leave the soft edge to 1 also. We're not messing around with the color, as I said. And next thing we want to do is set the intensity and exposure to 2, both of them. We have something like this. Now you can see that actually it doesn't do much lighting, but it lights up the shadows. Now if we go ahead and enable the key light right here, like we get lighting from this side, and this side is dark. And watch what happens if I enable the fill light. So you can see the difference, right? So it gives some more contrast to the depth. It's not too dark, but it's not too light also. Next thing I want to do is the rim light. That's the final light. So for the position of the rim light, I used minus 6 centimeters on X, 30 on Y, and 20 centimeters on Z axis. So we get it somewhere in the back here. And the rim light target will be, of course, set to 0 at first, so we have it at the center of the world, and then we are going to set it to minus 2 on X, 4 centimeters on Y, and about 20 centimeters on the Z. So if we enable now the rim light, we will see that it highlights this particular spot of the ball. So that's what we want to do, but at this moment we have to play around with the parameters to make it look good, because it is lighting too much. First thing I want to do is change the quad X and quad Y to 30 centimeters, so we have a bigger light. Everything else will be left as default except for roundness. We'll bump that up to 1. And we will set the intensity to something like, let's check how it looks with 1 intensity and 1 exposure. Just like that. And we are going to disable cast shadows. So you can see, like, we have the shadow right here, but we don't need that shadow. If we disable cast shadows, we lose that shadow, so it looks better like this, I think. So after we are done with the lights, we are going to select all the lights and the targets that we have in the scene. We're going to click on this icon, which is create new layer icon. That is going to put all our lights in new layer, and we are going to rename that layer into scene underscore lights. So we have them separated from everything else. Also, we are going to move the sky dome right here. So we have every light in that specific layer. Now make sure that you have active layer right here at default, and we can go ahead and hide the lights so we can clearly see the scene, just our ball. We don't need anything else. After that, I want to do the same for the camera. I can go ahead and put it in new layer, rename that layer scene underscore camera, and just hide it. And again, make sure that my active layer is set at default. We can even go ahead and froze these layers so we don't accidentally move something or whatever. And now I think we can mess around with the initial render setup. So let's go ahead and open the render setup. It's this icon here, or you can just press F10. And make sure that your renderer is set to Arnold for now, and target is production rendering mode. So that is very important. Now we've set the output size. We're going to keep it like we've said it before. I am going to bump it up to 2000 maybe for the final render, but we'll see. So now go ahead into the Arnold renderer tab right here, and into sampling and rate depth we have the initial render setup. So I'm just going to render out a render with this, and then we're going to tweak it. So let's just click render and wait up. So this is the initial render that we've made with the default settings. Now what I want to do is just check for noise. So we pretty much have, it's not too much, but it's really much noise. We can see right here where the shadows separate from the light. Also in these parts right here. So the next thing we are going to do is clean up this render. First of all, I am going to select and edit region, and I'm just going to set the edit region somewhere here so we can compare later what we did. So if we start with tweaking these parameters, it is very important to know that the samples will up our rendering time whenever we change them. So first thing I want to do is change the diffuse samples. We will change the diffuse samples to 4 and the ray depth to 4 for the diffuse. For the specular, of course, we have the specular right here. We will change that, the specular samples to 2 and the specular ray depth samples to 2. Transmission we don't have in the scene, so we can dump that down for the ray depth to 2. Also this subsurface scattering, we don't have it in the scene, so we can just set it to 1, just so we have it on. And the volume indirect samples will be left at 2 and the ray depth samples 2. Now we can go ahead and render out this region. And this is what we have now. With the new settings, we can compare it if we pull a bit of the save frame region right here. So you can see this is the new render and this is the old render. You can see how darker and noisy it was before. And Let's just leave it like this for now. So we have the old one, the new one, and now we will change the camera AA samples to about 5. Now please keep that in mind, that changing camera AA settings to, let's say, maybe 10 in this case, it will clear out the image, but it's an overkill. So it will just pump the render time and you will get more quality, but you will not get much more from maybe 5 to 8. So just keep that in mind. Let's do a quick render. And this is what we get. So let's just compare it. You see, we upped from 3 to 5 and we don't see like too much difference. I hope you can see it. So we have the noisy part from the first render right here. Then we have somewhat noisy part from the second render right here. And now we have the initial render. And this will be our initial render setup. We may tweak this later when we try and render the final render with the shaders on it. That's it guys for this video. I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick full render from the view, and I will get back at you when it's done. Alright, so this is the final render that I've rendered now. It took us about 2 minutes to render out. So as I've told you, from this moment on it will just go up, the render times, even though when we apply the shaders, of course it will go up. So I think that we have nice and crispy render for now, and we can proceed to the next steps. So that's it for this video. Now our scene is ready with the background, with camera, with lights and clean Arnold render settings. In the next video we will create the shaders for the soccer ball, applying them to our model and make the final render. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.